ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Not even when we had Hurricane Harvey was it this bad at all. And this is scary.
Millions of people in Texas are still without power tonight, dealing with the freezing temperatures after a deadly storm pounded the region. The governor of Texas is now vowing to investigate power officials because of those outages. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. Here in California, energy leaders are asking for voluntary power conservation to help Texas. We have team coverage tonight, and we begin with ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo, who spoke to former San Diegans now in Texas, bracing for yet another storm tonight.
The two women I spoke to are originally from San Diego County. They were only able to talk to me over the phone because they lost power and internet. It's going to be another long night for millions in Texas as so many continue without power.
For 15 hours, without power, without heat, without cable.
The state and much of the Midwest slammed with severe below freezing temperatures, stressing the state's power grid, forcing rolling blackouts and anger.
This is the winter version of Hurricane Harvey, and we will learn from this also.
For San Diegans now living in Texas, weather extremes like they've never seen before.
We're just going to bundle up in front of the fireplace and drink our hot tea and just cuddle. We're really going to cuddle tonight.
Trying to stay warm in their homes, going hours without any heat.
We have our gloves on and usually our beanie hats, and we have scarves. We have hand warmers.
The freezing temperatures also leaving millions without water.
We've filled up the bathtub with water earlier today. So if we need to get water when they shut it off, we can get it out of the bathtub and boil it on the stove.
California ISO sending out this tweet this evening, asking Californians to voluntarily conserve energy during evening hours to help ease stressed grid conditions in the Midwest, Texas, and Southeast, reassuring that grid conditions in our state remain stable.
Not even when we had Hurricane Harvey was it this bad at all. And this is scary.
The region is expecting more rain and snow overnight, and officials have warned of more outages. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
We continue our team coverage with ABC 10 News meteorologist Angelica Campos. She's tracking this winter storm affecting most of the rest of the nation tonight. Angelica.
Hi, Kim. And just like we talked even last week, severe weather during the winter months, we also have to prepare for them. Have water, make sure that you know what to do when the potential for losing power is. And that's basically what Texas was getting ready for since last week. The temperatures are down to 19 degrees in Dallas, 32 in Houston, but it feels about 10 degrees colder. And this is actually better than last night. But as our latest storm system now moves into their region, snow is developing, winter weather once again, freezing rain moving through just west of Houston, heading in there towards their direction. And this is going to be a system that will be impacting much of the mid-Atlantic states at least through Friday. So this is not over. And obviously the concerns go beyond those regions. It could impact the entire country as they continue battling the very cold weather.
Treacherous. Angelica, thank you. Earlier this evening, people across the county reported feeling a big shaking in areas ranging from South Park to Chula Vista. According to officials with the U.S. Geological Survey, which tracks earthquakes, they confirmed there was no earthquake, but suggested it might have been a sonic boom. The Navy says it was not aware of any military exercises.
Help is coming to many South Bay families struggling to pay their rent and utilities due to coronavirus. Tonight, the Chula Vista City Council made nearly $17 million available to help residents. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura has more on when applications could become available.
The Chula Vista City Council voted Tuesday to move forward and allocate close to $17 million in state and federal funds to help families who've fallen behind on rent and utility payments due to COVID-19.
This is good news for the people that are suffering because of loss of income, because of the pandemic. And we are very thankful for the money that's coming down both from the state and the federal government.
Families applying for the program must show they have been impacted by the coronavirus. For example, a job loss or hours cut as a result of the pandemic. Landlords can also participate in the program. They would get 80% of unpaid rent and in turn must agree to forgive the remaining 20%. Applications for the program could become available by early March. Right now, city officials are asking people interested in the assistance program to sign up for a notification service online that will send information in the form of alerts. So far, more than 700 people have signed up for that service since it launched on Friday. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Several people jumped at the opportunity to get vaccinated today after Sharp Healthcare opened 2,000 appointments at some of the county's super sites. Now, the rush comes after the Petco Park super site was forced to close for 3 days because of a delayed shipment of the Moderna vaccine. The Petco site will reopen tomorrow for their appointments. Today, Sharp Healthcare received a giant shipment of the COVID-19 vaccine. This was an allotment that they were expecting. 2,000 appointments were spread across the Sharp superstations at Grossmont Center, Chula Vista, and Coronado.
Very happy. You have no idea.
How long have you been waiting for this?
A long time ago.
Sharp Healthcare says the vaccines they received were from Pfizer.
The county reported another 698 cases today, and our test positivity rate is 8%. 5 more people lost their lives to COVID, bringing our total to 3,042. Governor Newsom says the number of California counties could be moved to a less restrictive tier starting next week. And speaking today in Los Angeles, Newsom said California is among the world's leaders in vaccinating people.
There are only 7 jurisdictions in the world that have administered more doses of the vaccine than the state of California, some 6.3 million doses.
California's goal is to give out 3 million shots a week, starting the first week of March.
And President Joe Biden just wrapped up his first official trip since taking office. Tonight, he traveled to Wisconsin for a town hall on CNN. He focused on his plan to tackle the coronavirus. It includes extending unemployment benefits, another $160 billion for vaccinations and testing, and a $1,400 check for lower-income Americans.
Now is the time to go big. It is estimated that if we pass this bill alone, we'll create 7 million jobs this year.
Well, his plan could be tough to pass in the Senate. He is getting pushback from Republicans and conservative Democrats that the plan is too expensive.
You don't just throw money against the wall and say, oh my gosh, we're going to show how much we care.
Congress could begin voting next week. An alarming number of children are being rushed to Rady Children's Hospital with an illness that stems from COVID-19. Our ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano explains the dangers of Miss C.
While the coronavirus pandemic dominates the headlines, pediatricians worldwide are seeing a spike in another dangerous trend.
We're just, in the midst of Miss C.
Miss C stands for multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children. It's an inflammatory reaction to COVID affecting mostly school-aged children who 2 to 6 weeks prior got COVID themselves or were exposed to someone with COVID-19 in the household. Symptoms include
vomiting, diarrhea, red eyes, red lips, a rash throughout the body.
Dr. Adriana Tremolay says since last April, there have been 57 cases of Miss C at Rady Children's Hospital, but a majority of them were seen in the last 2 months. Timing-wise, she says it aligns exactly 2 to 6 weeks after the holiday COVID spike in adults.
So the heart is a pump, and it doesn't pump well in many of these children.
Children spend on average 5 to 9 days at Rady, many needing care at the ICU. Dr. Tremolay says Miss C predominantly affects Latino and African American children, but it's unknown if it's because there's a larger COVID rate among these demographics or if it's a genetic predisposition.
Latin America is seeing a lot of Latino children, of course, with Miss C, but they're also seeing a lot of COVID, whereas countries in Asia have also, of course, seen less COVID, but they're really not seeing Miss C at all.
Dr. Tremolay asks parents if they had or were exposed to COVID in recent weeks to be extra vigilant.
Using that barometer as a parent where you know that your child is ill more than they normally would be and to seek medical attention.
Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
They tell us the youngest Miss C patient at Rady was 2 years old. The oldest was in their teens. But there have been some cases nationwide involving young adults.
Police say they finally have enough evidence to arrest someone for a decades-old cold case. In July of 1988, a man named Oliver Harrison was bike riding along 61st in Encanto. Shots were fired from a fight down the street. A stray bullet hit Harrison and killed him. Police had a person of interest, but say the witnesses didn't cooperate and they couldn't get enough evidence. 32 years later, they have gotten enough to arrest a man named Leovardo Salcedo for murder. We'll keep track of this case as it heads to court.
San Diego police tell us they do not believe that an attack on an elderly Filipino woman on the trolley was a hate crime. The attacker reportedly punched that woman in her 80s downtown, but today, the San Diego police spokesperson told us they made an arrest for assault. He calls it an isolated incident and says the woman is recovering well.